The huge alien ship appeared on a quiet Tuesday morning. It simply materialized above New York, casting a shadow larger than Central Park. The world held its breath, and for once, all of humanity stood united in a single thought: we are not alone. Admiral James Walker stood at the United Nations podium, his weathered hands gripping its edges. As Earth's highest-ranking military officer, he had been chosen to meet the visitors. The job should have gone to a politician, but the aliens had specifically requested a military representative. "They're ready for you, sir," a young aide whispered. Walker nodded, straightening his uniform one last time. After 30 years of military service, he had thought nothing could make his hands shake. He was wrong. The meeting room fell silent as 3 alien figures entered. They walked on 2 legs, but that's where their similarity to humans ended. Their blue-tinted skin seemed to shimmer under the lights, and their 4 eyes blinked independently of each other. The tallest one stepped forward. "We are the representatives of the Galactic Council," it said in perfect English. "We have been watching your species for some time." Walker kept his face neutral, though his mind raced. How long had they been watching? What had they seen? "Earth welcomes you," he said simply. The alien nodded. "We come at a time of great need. Our civilization spans thousands of worlds, hundreds of species, but we are at war." Images appeared in the air between them. Massive space battles, planetary sieges, things that belonged in science fiction movies. But this was real. 2 major factions fight for control of key systems. The alien continued. "The Council seeks new allies. Your species has potential." Walker noticed how the alien's upper eyes narrowed when it said potential. There was something they weren't saying. With respect, Walker said, "Earth has no faster-than-light travel. No energy weapons. How could we help in a war among the stars?" The aliens exchanged looks. "Technology can be shared. We are more interested in your unique capabilities." Over the next hour, they explained the situation. The Galactic Council represented most civilized species, but a breakaway faction called the Dominion threatened stability. The war had dragged on for decades, with neither side gaining advantage. "We've observed your conflicts," the alien said. "Your methods are unusual, primitive, some would say, but effective." Walker felt a chill. They had been watching humanity's wars. Our violence, our determination, our ability to keep fighting when any rational being would surrender. "The Council offers Earth membership," the alien announced. "In exchange for military assistance, we will provide technology, knowledge, protection. And if we refuse..." The alien's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "The Dominion will make the same offer. They are less pleasant to deal with." Walker looked down at the table, thinking of Earth's history. Humans had done terrible things in war, but also showed incredible courage, sacrifice, and the will to protect others. Maybe that's what the galaxy needed. "I'll need to discuss this with Earth's leaders," he said finally. "Of course. But remember, Admiral Walker, time is short. The Dominion grows stronger. We need humanity's unique perspective." After the aliens left, Walker sat alone in the room. Humanity had dreamed of the stars for centuries. Now they were being offered everything: technology, knowledge, membership in a galactic civilization. All they had to do was fight. He pulled out his phone to call the president. As he did, he noticed his hands weren't shaking anymore. Whatever happened next, humanity would face it as they had faced everything else. Head-on, together, and with determination that would shock the galaxy. What Walker didn't know then was just how much humanity would shock their new alien allies, or why, less than a year later, the entire galaxy would beg humans to stop fighting. But that's how it all began. With an offer, a choice, and humanity's first step into a much larger and much more dangerous universe. 3 months after first contact, Dr. Emma Reed watched from behind thick glass as 20 human soldiers prepared for their first combat assessment. The Galactic Council had insisted on testing human capabilities before providing any advanced technology. "Your soldiers understand these are just tests?" asked Head Observer Rex, his 4 eyes blinking nervously. Like all council members, he had blue-tinted skin that seemed to glow under the bright lights. "They understand," Emma said, making notes on her tablet. As Earth's leading expert in combat psychology, she had been chosen to monitor the tests. "Though I'm curious why you're so worried." Rex shifted uncomfortably. "The last species we tested didn't do well under stress." The testing chamber was massive, larger than a football field. Council engineers had created different environments within it: urban ruins, dense jungle, frozen tundra. The soldiers would face various challenges in each zone. "Beginning assessment phase 1, announced a computerized voice. The first test seemed simple. Soldiers had to reach an objective while avoiding enemy fire. The Council used non-lethal stun weapons that caused temporary paralysis. Emma watched as the human squad moved forward carefully, using cover and communicating with hand signals. "Interesting," Rex muttered. "Most species run straight ahead." Then the Council threw in their surprise. The floor began to shake, and the temperature dropped rapidly. Soon it was well below freezing. "We find most beings stop to rest when conditions become difficult," Rex explained. But the humans didn't stop. They kept moving, adjusting their tactics for the new conditions. Even when covered in frost, they pushed forward. "How?" Rex's voice trailed off as the soldiers reached their objective, completing the task in record time. The next test involved endurance. The soldiers were required to perform complex tasks while under constant stress. Hours passed. Other species apparently needed rest cycles every few hours. The humans just kept going. "Impossible," Rex whispered as the 12th hour approached. "Their stress hormones should have depleted by now." Emma smiled. "Actually, humans can go much longer than this when necessary. Our bodies produce adrenaline and other hormones continuously during high-stress situations." The final test was the most challenging. The soldiers faced combat robots in close quarters. The robots were programmed to use standard Council military tactics. What happened next stunned the alien observers. Instead of following normal combat protocols, the humans adapted and improvised. They used the environment in unexpected ways, turned defensive positions into traps, and kept fighting even when hit multiple times by stun weapons. "Stop the test," Rex suddenly shouted. "They're vital signs. They should be unconscious." But the soldiers pressed on, completing their mission despite injuries that would have incapacitated any other species. When the test finally ended, they emerged tired but ready for more. "How is this possible?" Rex asked Emma later, reviewing the data. Their bodies were under extreme stress, experiencing pain, fatigue, and harsh conditions. Yet they not only continued but improved their performance. Emma tried to explain human adaptability, how stress could actually enhance human performance, how adrenaline could push humans beyond normal limits. But she could see the alien wasn't really understanding. "Your species," Rex paused, choosing his words carefully. "You are more resilient than we expected. Much more." That evening, Emma reviewed the Council's reports. Between the lines of technical language, she could read their growing unease. They had expected primitive warriors. Instead, they found something that frightened them: soldiers who could fight continuously, adapt instantly, and keep going when any reasonable being would quit. As she finished her own report, Emma remembered something her grandfather, a war veteran, once told her. "It's not that humans are stronger or smarter. We just don't know when to quit." The Council was about to learn just how true that was. And soon, they would discover why that terrified them more than any enemy they'd faced before. Lieutenant Mark Thompson stared out the window of the alien dropship as it descended toward the battlefield. His small team of 10 human soldiers had been sent as observers to a minor border conflict. At least, that's what the Council had called it. The scene below told a different story. Explosions lit up the purple sky of the alien world. Council forces were retreating from an enemy that had appeared from nowhere. The Dominion, the Council's greatest enemy, had launched a surprise attack. "Remember," Thompson told his team, "we're just here to watch and learn." The Council commander, a tall being named Axis, had positioned the humans on a hill overlooking the battlefield. "Stay here," he ordered. "Observe our tactics. Do not engage." For an hour, they watched the battle unfold. Council forces fought in perfectly organized formations, their energy weapons lighting up the sky. But the Dominion forces were stronger, pushing forward relentlessly. Then everything went wrong. A massive explosion rocked their position. The Dominion had flanked the Council forces. Thompson watched in horror as the alien soldiers around them began to fall back. "We must retreat," Axis shouted. "Our forces need rest cycles. We cannot." Another explosion cut him off. The alien commander fell, wounded but alive. His troops were scattered, exhausted after 6 hours of fighting. Thompson looked at his team. They hadn't been ordered to fight. But below them, Council soldiers, allies who had trusted Earth, were about to be overrun. He made his decision. "Combat formation," Thompson ordered, his voice calm. "We're going in." "Sir," his sergeant said, "Council orders." "To hell with orders. Those are allies down there." The 10 humans moved forward as one. They had basic Council weapons, but they knew how to use them. More importantly, they had something the enemy hadn't counted on: human determination. The Dominion forces never saw them coming. Thompson's team hit them from behind, moving with a speed and aggression that shocked both sides. While Council forces needed rest after hours of battle, the humans were just getting started. A Dominion soldier shot Thompson in the arm. The energy weapon burned, but Thompson didn't stop. Human adrenaline kicked in, dulling the pain. He kept fighting. The Council forces watched in amazement as the small human team drove into the enemy's flank. They fought in ways that made no sense to alien eyes. Up close when they should retreat, advancing when they should take cover, continuing despite injuries that should have stopped them. "Keep pushing," Thompson shouted, ignoring the blood running down his arm. His team responded, fighting with the desperate energy that humans had learned over thousands of years of warfare. The Dominion forces, faced with an enemy that wouldn't stop, began to fall back. They had never seen anything like these creatures that fought through pain, that seemed to get stronger when wounded, that refused to follow the normal rules of combat. 2 hours later, it was over. Thompson sat as a medical team treated his arm. Around him, Council soldiers stared at the humans with a mixture of awe and fear. His team was exhausted but alive. They had suffered wounds that would have killed most alien soldiers, but they had kept fighting. Axis approached slowly. The alien commander had watched everything. "You were ordered not to engage," he said. Thompson looked up. "Yes, sir." "You disobeyed a direct command." "Yes, sir." "You saved many lives today." Axis paused. "But you also showed us something disturbing." Thompson didn't understand then what the alien meant. He didn't know that videos of 10 humans turning the tide of battle were already spreading through Council space. He couldn't know that his actions today would lead to emergency meetings at the highest levels of alien government. All he knew was that his team had done what humans always did, fought against impossible odds to protect others. He didn't realize that was exactly what terrified them. Professor Alan White replayed the battle footage for the 20th time. The Council's Science Division had given him access to their most advanced laboratory to study human combat capabilities. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, he was supposed to explain why humans fought so differently from every other known species. The holographic display showed Lieutenant Thompson's team in action. White paused the footage on a crucial moment. A human soldier continuing to fight with a broken arm. "Impossible," muttered head scientist Lux, his blue skin pale with worry. "By our medical understanding, this should not happen." White looked at the data scrolling across his screen. What exactly troubles you about this? Everything. Lux pulled up comparative biology charts. Look, all known species have clear responses to injury. Pain causes them to stop. Their bodies shut down to prevent further damage. It's basic survival. Ah, White said, beginning to understand. But humans are different. He pulled up the human endocrine system diagram. You see, humans developed something unique, our fight-or-flight response. The alien scientists gathered around as White explained. When humans faced danger, their bodies released adrenaline, cortisol, and other hormones. Pain dulled. Strength increased. Normal limitations disappeared. But that makes no logical sense, another alien scientist protested. A damaged body should stop to heal. Logic didn't help our ancestors survive, White explained. When a prehistoric human faced a predator, running or fighting while injured was often the only way to live. We evolved to ignore pain, to push beyond normal limits. He showed them more footage. Humans fighting for hours without rest, continuing despite injuries, growing more aggressive when threatened. There's more, White said. Humans don't just fight through pain. We adapt to it. The more we endure, the more we can endure. The alien scientists exchanged troubled looks. One of them, a specialist in military biology, stepped forward. You mean, humans become stronger from suffering? In a way, yes. We have a saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It's literally true for humans. Our bodies and minds adapt to stress and hardship. The laboratory fell silent as the implications sank in. White could almost see the aliens thinking about what this meant for warfare. And this, fight response. Lux asked carefully, how long can humans maintain it? Hours, days, if necessary. The longest recorded combat operations for human soldiers have lasted over 70 hours. The aliens stepped back involuntarily. Their species needed rest every few hours. The idea of fighting for days was beyond their comprehension. Lux turned to his colleagues and spoke in their language, forgetting White could understand them through the translator. This explains everything, he said. Why they keep fighting when injured, why they grow more dangerous when threatened, why they never retreat when logic demands it. Another scientist added, they're not just soldiers. They're biological weapons that improve with use. White wanted to protest, to explain that humans were more than just their capacity for combat. He wanted to tell them about human art, music, literature, about human kindness and compassion. But before he could speak, Lux made an urgent call to the council chamber. Emergency Protocol 7, he said into the communicator. The humans, they're more dangerous than we thought. Their whole biology is designed for warfare. After the call, Lux turned to White. You understand we must share this information with the council. White nodded slowly. But you're missing something important about humans. What could be more important than this? The same traits that make us dangerous in war. Our endurance, our ability to ignore pain, our drive to continue against impossible odds. These make us equally powerful when protecting others. But White could see the aliens weren't listening anymore. They were too focused on their fears, on the implications of a species that grew stronger through combat. As he left the laboratory that evening, White wondered if anyone would remember to tell the council that humanity's greatest strength wasn't our ability to fight. It was our ability to choose not to. Commander Thomas Gray stood on the bridge of the council warship, watching as the Dominion fleet emerged from hyperspace. After months of small battles, this was it. The enemy had brought their main fleet to attack a crucial council settlement. 500 enemy ships, reported the alien sensor officer, all 4 eyes wide with fear. We are outnumbered 3-1. Gray looked at his tablet showing the human forces available. 1 battalion, just 600 soldiers. The council had been hesitant to deploy more humans after the earlier incidents, but now they had no choice. Your species has one last chance to prove itself useful, the council admiral said, his blue skin dark with stress. The settlement below has millions of civilians. Gray activated his comm link. All human units, prepare for drop deployment. This is not a drill. Unlike the Council's elegant combat pods, human dropships were basic metal containers fired from ships. As Gray joined his troops, he saw the alien crews staring at them. The Council soldiers had already fought for 6 hours, their maximum combat duration. They couldn't understand how humans could be ready to fight. They dropped through the purple atmosphere like meteors. Below them, Dominion forces were already pushing through the Council's defensive lines. Remember, Gray told his troops, we're the last line of defense. Those civilians are counting on us. The dropships hit ground with bone-crushing force. Any other species would have needed time to recover. The humans burst out fighting. Gray led from the front, directing his forces to where they were needed most. The Dominion troops, expecting exhausted defenders, found themselves facing something terrifying. Soldiers who fought harder the longer the battle lasted. They just keep coming. Gray heard a Dominion commander shout over an intercepted transmission. Why won't they stop? Hour after hour, the humans held their ground. When energy weapons depleted their shields, they fought with basic weapons. When those ran out, they fought hand to hand. Every time the Dominion pushed forward, they found humans refusing to break. Gray took a hit to his leg, but kept commanding. Around him, his soldiers fought through injuries that would have killed most aliens. The more the Dominion hurt them, the harder they fought back. Impossible, the Council Admiral's voice crackled over the comm. Your forces have been fighting for 12 hours straight. We're just getting warmed up, sir, Gray replied, directing another counterattack. The Dominion forces had never seen anything like it. They were used to enemies who retreated when beaten, who fell back when hurt. These humans did the opposite. They advanced when hit, became more aggressive when wounded. Stories spread through the enemy ranks about the unkillable human soldiers, about beings that fought beyond exhaustion, beyond injury, beyond what any sane species would endure. By the 18th hour, the Dominion forces began to retreat, not because they were defeated militarily, but because they were terrified. How could you fight an enemy that grew stronger from battle? Enemy fleet is withdrawing, the Council Admiral announced, his voice shaking. The settlement is saved. Gray looked around at his troops. They were exhausted, injured, but still standing, still ready to fight if needed. Of the 600 humans who dropped, 580 had survived. An incredible survival rate that scared the Council even more than their victory. Later, in the medical bay, Gray heard the alien doctors talking in worried whispers. Did you see the combat footage? One asked. They fought for almost 20 hours straight. That's not the worst part, another replied. Their combat effectiveness increased over time. The longer they fought, the more dangerous they became. Gray understood their fear. Humans had just proven they could defeat a superior force through sheer determination and endurance. But as he watched Council ships arriving to reinforce the system, he wondered if they would understand the truth. Humans hadn't fought so hard because they loved war. They had fought so hard because they couldn't bear to let innocent civilians die. But that distinction would be lost in the fear that was now spreading through the galaxy like wildfire. Ambassador Diana Miller had faced many challenges in her diplomatic career, but nothing like this. She stood before the Galactic Council's emergency session, surrounded by representatives from 100 alien species. Every one of them looked afraid. The great chamber of the Council sparkled with crystalline light, usually a place of calm debate. Today it hummed with nervous energy. On the massive screens above, footage from the recent battle played silently. Humans fighting hour after hour, refusing to fall, becoming more dangerous as the battle continued. The evidence is clear. The Council leader spoke, his blue skin almost white with concern. Humans are not what we expected. Diana watched as Professor White's scientific report appeared on the screens. Our biology is different, she began. But different, a representative interrupted, standing up. Your species continues fighting after injuries that would stop any sane being. You grow stronger from combat. You don't know when to stop. More voices joined in. They fought for 20 hours straight. Their wounds only made them fight harder. They're not soldiers. They're living weapons. Diana raised her hands for silence. We fought to protect civilians, she said firmly. Everything we did was to save lives. The council leader activated a hologram showing human history. We've reviewed your species' past. You fought wars that lasted years, decades. Your soldiers have endured conditions that would kill our strongest warriors. And look what we learned from those wars, Diana argued. Humanity has grown. We've learned to value peace. A new voice spoke. The military representative who had witnessed the recent battle. In 18 hours of combat, the human battalion suffered wounds that would have wiped out any other species' army. But they didn't just survive. They won. The chamber erupted in fearful murmurs. What happens, another representative asked, when humans decide to conquer rather than defend? What happens when they turn this endless endurance against us? Diana tried to explain about human compassion, about how the same determination that made them fearsome in war also made them unstoppable in saving lives. But she could see the fear in their eyes. The council leader raised his hand for silence. We have reached a decision. From this day forward, humans are banned from all military operations in council space. You can't do this, Diana protested. We're allies. This is not a punishment, the leader explained. It is containment. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed in warfare. Your very biology makes you a threat to galactic stability. One by one, the representatives voted. Diana watched as the holographic display showed the results. Nearly unanimous. Humanity was now officially banned from war among the stars. And if we refuse? Diana asked quietly. The council leader's 4 eyes met hers steadily. Then every species in the galaxy will have no choice but to contain humanity by force. For the good of all. Diana looked around the chamber. She saw fear in their eyes. Yes, but something else too. A growing respect. Humanity had proven itself too powerful, too determined, too dangerous to be allowed to fight. As she prepared to leave the chamber, the military commander who had witnessed the battle approached her. Your people fought like nothing we've ever seen, he said quietly. But what terrifies us most isn't your strength or your endurance. What then? The fact that you could have been this dangerous all along, and we never knew. That there might be other capabilities you possess that we don't yet understand. Diana thought about humanity's history, not just of war, but of overcoming challenges, of exploring, of helping others against impossible odds. You're right to be afraid, she said finally, but not for the reasons you think. She left the chamber knowing that while humanity had been banned from war, they had also just proven something incredible to the galaxy, that humans were capable of things no other species thought possible. The question now was, what would they do with that knowledge? Director Robert Stone stood in the ruins of what had once been a thriving alien city, not destroyed by war, but by nature. A massive earthquake had struck this colony world 3 days ago. The council had called for help, and humanity had answered. Impossible, muttered an alien observer, watching as human rescue teams worked tirelessly through their 3rd straight day. They've been digging for 72 hours straight. Stone smiled. The same endurance that had terrified the galaxy in war now served a different purpose. While other species needed regular rest cycles, humans could keep searching for survivors without stopping. Life signs detected. A rescue worker shouted. Stone rushed over to where his team was lifting rubble that would have required heavy machinery for other species. Through sheer determination and adrenaline-fueled strength, they were moving it by hand. A small alien child emerged from the ruins, alive after 3 days trapped underground. Stone watched as the rescue worker, despite her own exhaustion, gently carried the child to safety. I don't understand, said the alien observer. Your people are as tired as they were in battle, yet they keep going. Why? Because that's what humans do, Stone replied. We don't know how to quit, whether we're fighting or saving lives. 6 months had passed since the Council's ban on human warfare. In that time, humanity had found a new role in the galaxy. The Human Emergency Response Division, HFY, had been Stone's idea, a way to use humanity's unique capabilities for rescue and disaster response instead of war. His communicator beeped. Another emergency, this time on a mining colony. Cave-in. Other species couldn't handle the combination of low oxygen and heavy lifting required for rescue. But humans could. All teams, prepare for deployment, Stone ordered. We have lives to save. As his ships lifted off, Stone remembered the Council's initial skepticism. They hadn't believed humans could redirect their warrior nature, but they hadn't understood something fundamental about humanity. The same determination that made humans unstoppable in battle made them equally unstoppable in saving lives. The same ability to ignore pain and exhaustion that scared alien soldiers now meant human rescuers could work longer, push harder, reach survivors that would otherwise be lost. Director Stone, his alien liaison called. The Council wishes to speak with you. The holographic meeting showed the same council chamber that had banned humans from war. But the faces were different now, not afraid, but grateful. Your Emergency Response Division has saved more lives in 6 months than our conventional rescue services did in 5 years, the council leader admitted. We may have judged humanity too quickly. Stone thought of the thousands of aliens saved by human rescuers. We're not just warriors, he said. That's what we try to tell you. Humans don't know when to quit. But that's true whether we're fighting or helping. We understand that now, the leader replied. Your species has proven something remarkable. The same traits that made you dangerous in war make you invaluable in peace. After the meeting, Stone walked through Herd's main base. Everywhere, he saw humans training, preparing, ready to help wherever needed. The same intense focus that had once been used for war now served a greater purpose. A young recruit stopped him. Sir, is it true? The Council is expanding our jurisdiction. Stone nodded. They're creating a permanent peacekeeping force. Humans will serve as emergency responders across the galaxy. Our job isn't to fight anymore. It's to protect and save. Looking at the determination in the recruit's eyes, Stone knew humanity had found its true place among the stars. Not as warriors, but as guardians. Not feared for their strength, but respected for their dedication to helping others. The galaxy had banned humans from war, believing they were too dangerous. Instead, they had discovered something far more powerful. Humanity's unconquerable spirit turned from destruction to protection. And that Stone knew was humanity's greatest victory of all. The end.